Does it bother you that the draft has become this 4-day experience? Gone are the days where it was done on a Saturday and Sunday. Do you like the way everything in the NFL is an event?
When I worked at NFL Network, it was fun because like the combine was our event and it was fun to get into the hype. I particularly believe the draft is overinflated in terms of importance in the public's eye. And there's data to back me up that it's 50%
What do you
success
mean?
rate. Even at the
Oh,
top, it's a 50% hit rate, I think, at best. So I think the general public tends to treat it as though it is transformative. And it can be, even at 199, right? Tom Brady went with the 199th pick. It was
yeah. Or Brock
transformative.
Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, which is, we get into great detail. And by the way, one of the
Yeah.
delicious surprises in the book is that I was spending a bunch of time with Mike Shanahan during the 2022 offseason, and I have it on tape. We talk about Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and he kept bringing up the 262nd pick in that year's draft, Brock Purdy, because he'd seen the minicamp tapes and the OTA tapes, and he was like, I'm telling you, this guy. And so Mike Shanahan has not lost his touch when it comes to quarterbacks. Even Kyle at that point hadn't seen it the way Mike had seen it. He knew they had something. I think the general public, because there's so much draft coverage and they love watching it and they love deciding which team should pick which guy, and it matters, but it's not the be all end all. And so I think it's hard for me sometimes with other media people and fans when I regard the draft as like a cool thing and you can get better. Like the Rams during the McVay era have largely traded their top draft picks, and
Hmm.
fans are like, "Yeah, you traded another draft. How could you? You
Yeah.
gave all those picks." But like, dude, if you could go get Jalen Ramsey in his prime and help you win a Super Bowl, there's no guarantee that the first round picks you use are going to become elite players. And so the salary cap, people overreact to that too, because that could be massaged. But in my opinion, people need to exhale a little bit with the draft. You as a fan might think you know who they should pick, and you might think this is going to be transformative. And sometimes it will be, and sometimes it won't be, but it is not the be all end all. And I do think because there's this whole cottage industry out there in my
Hmm.
business, it is portrayed as such a massive
Yeah.
seismic thing. And I don't think that reflects reality. Whereas there are other things that are really big that aren't as hyped. And some of them, in fairness, it's because people like me have a really hard time identifying them. For example, chemistry. Football more than any sport. Every year is different. You could probably talk about this for a long time, having been in the league for so long and been on so many different teams for so many different coaches. But I can look at the roster and go, that guy's really good, or that, this could be a really cool thing to have this receiver with this scheme. And wow, they got better. But it's really hard for me to know how a team is going to bond, because football, it's irrational. Some dude's going to allow his arm to be bent back at a 270-degree angle against all logic because he loves the guy next to him, or because his coach has reached him in a way that I can't fathom. And that changes year to year. And it's just hard for me to know sometimes. And sometimes something comes out of nowhere and I'm like, how is this team this locked in and this tight? It's a wild thing.